Good morning, distinguished participants. I recognize the distinguished members of Alausa that have joined us. This morning, we are going to be looking at lifestyle and diabetes. I especially welcome each and every one of us to this edition of Webinar for Retirees. Before we go ahead, I would like to invite the Permanent Secretary, PSC, the class captain of the body of permanent secretaries, to please declare this webinar open.
Good morning, dear participants. Particularly, I want to appreciate Mr. Tairu joining us, Mrs. Fatinikun, Mapome, and the rest of them. We want to appreciate you. Mr. Tairu, for your consistency. I want to say a very big thank you. Good morning. The topic for discourse, lifestyle and diabetes. Oh, quite apt, because anything that has to do with our health is should be of great importance to us. And I want to believe that there is no ailment that has no cure. There is nothing that cannot be managed. All we just require is discipline and knowledge, calling the appropriate persons to educate one on it and to give us recipe on how we can manage and handle such ailments. Diabetes is quite common, but we've seen those with diabetes living up to 80-something, 90-something years. A practical example is our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. I read in one of his interviews that he had diabetes for quite a long time, but it adhered strictly to the diet, exercising, and all those things recommended. And you can see him very strong. You can't see Obasanjo and believe that he has diabetes. So I want to admonish us to please listen, because this particular disease is very common. So I want to admonish us to please listen carefully, ask questions in Bible that is we are taught, so that we can know how to manage such ailment if we have it, or we have those who are suffering from such an ailment. The head of service has promised that one of these days is going to join us and be part of it. What I'm doing it on behalf of the head of service, Mr. Akim Oriokola, who has been very, very, very supportive of all we are doing. So on behalf of the head of service, Mr. Akim Oriokola, it is my pleasure to declare the webinar open and to wish us a successful and useful deliberation. Thank you very much and welcome on board.
Thank you very much, sir. As the PS was making his speech, the 20th head of service, Mrs. Folashade Adesoye, joined us. Good morning, ma, and you are welcome to Webinar for Retirees this morning. Today, like I said earlier, we are going to be looking at lifestyle and diabetes. Medical practitioners will tell us that pertaining our health, there are some numbers we need to know. When your blood sugar level is consistently high, they will tell you to check it. Today, we are going to be looking at that topic, and the person who is going to take us on that topic is Mrs. Ariyike Oluyinka Sijuade. She's a nurse She graduated from School of Nursing, Awolowo Road, Ikoyi. She also attended School of Nursing at Lut. She's a health educator. He has advanced diploma in health education. He's also a social worker. He has PGD, MSc, Lautech. She has served in local government, under the Local Government Service Commission as a staff midwife in 7 local government areas in Lagos State. She has also worked with the Lagos State Civil Service Commission under the Ministry of Health as a chief health educator. She was in blood transfusion unit in 3 general hospitals. And then she has also been part of Lagos State Health Service Commission as a health educator. She retired in 2020 as a Deputy Director, Social Welfare Services at General Hospital. Mrs. Sijuade, you have the floor now. You can unmute yourself and continue with your presentation. You're welcome. Please unmute. Please unmute, Mrs. Sijuade, okay.
The head of service, the permanent secretary, and all directors in the public service office. I want to say it's a very great privilege to be called to duty, even at retirement. It has always been my pleasure to serve my state and to serve my people. Within my capacity. We remember us, the retirees in Lagos State, and I want to commend the Lagos State government, His Excellency, and all the team. I pray that God will continue to grant you wisdom with which you manage the state. And specifically, I want to thank the PSO management and the team for a job well done. I say congratulations to each and every one of you for keeping your retirees safe and healthy through your various programs. I also want to appreciate the retirees this morning. I don't know how many people we have online. However, I want to believe the topic of this course is absolutely not totally strange to each and every one of us. We must at one time or the other heard about diabetes, although we might not really know whether our lifestyle is contributing to the problems of managing diabetes or even having it at all. But this morning, I pray that within the limited period of time that I have, I'll just be able to express further on what you all know. I want to believe we are not totally novice in the area. I heard the PS mention exercise and diet, and that's actually the basics of caring for diabetes. So I say good morning to each and everybody, all my organs in the house. I say good morning, sirs and ma'ams. Thank you very much for this great privilege. To Mrs. Durodola, I say a very big thank you to you, ma'am. Thank you for the privilege to serve even at retirement. Thank you very much, madam.
You're welcome.
So we go straight to my topic. Now, okay, allow me to share my screen with the participants, with the host. Please, madam, kindly allow me to share my screen from your end. It's disabled.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
So like, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, this session is going to be very participatory. I'm not a lecturer, I'm a health educator. I love to know the views about people. I want to know how much people know about diabetes. So I occasionally will be asking us to please share your experiences with me during the course of this presentation too. However, as we all know that diabetes is a silent killer, is one of the leading causes of death, both in the developing and the developed countries.
Which is
Hello?
Go ahead.
Because
so you will all agree with me that because it's a silent killer, it is very, very important that everybody takes good care of one's health, minding your lifestyle, the kind of life you live, what you eat, the kind of exercise you take, what you drink, and all of these things put together will actually affect this condition, which is a metabolic condition called diabetes. Now, it is said that over 422 million of people worldwide have diabetes, especially in the middle income countries. And about 1.6 out of these 422 million people will die annually from WHO data. So you see that 1.6 million people dying annually as a result of diabetes is, it actually calls for concern. And I want us to have in mind that even with retirement and age, we are more prone to having some of these disorders because of our inactivity. Most of us, after retirement, we end up either the women going to do omugo in and out of the country. The men are almost at the receiving end most of the time. Most of the time, women are also always going from one child to the other to help them care for their newborn babies for the men. So I pity the men. So at retirement, you just have to remain active. Now, what is diabetes? What exactly is diabetes? Diabetes is a metabolic disorder. It occurs when your blood sugar or blood glucose level is too high. The blood glucose is your main source of energy, and it comes from the food we all eat. All the starchy food we eat is converted and turned to simple glucose that we call sugar. Now, in our body, the pancreas secretes an hormone called insulin. And if for any reason, the insulin is to help us to utilize the converted glucose as energy saved in the cells. However, if anything should happen to the pancreas at any time, we realize the function become defective, and the aftermath is that glucose is let loose into the blood circulation, and this is revealed during investigation. Someone may have a touch of the sugar in the blood, otherwise called the borderline diabetes or the pre-diabetes. If we don't do regular check on our blood sugar, either by doing the simple home test using our glucometers or going to the hospital to check occasionally, we realize that this condition may just be silent and remain dormant, and it will continue like that for a very long time until it has done so much damages And it is the damages that sometimes to seek medical help. Another incident happened, another disease condition manifests itself. And while the doctors are probing, they discover that one is actually having a high blood sugar. So how do you do your test to know? There is the self-check that you do at home. I want to encourage every retiree after this presentation, if you really don't have your personal kit, to please endeavor to get your personal kit, the glucometer and the strips. There are so many brands out there in the market. So it's very easy to check at home. You can check at any time. That is why they call it, you can check. Whatsoever you have eaten the previous day, we actually reflect when. So, like I was saying, so you prick your middle finger gently with the lancet or the pin. You set in your strip inside your machine and make sure it's ready for work. There is the end that you place on the blood. It sucks in the blood by itself, and you read on the surface of your machine. That is the self-check for simple blood sugar or random blood sugar check. And you can do that at home. Then you have the laboratory check. So in the lab, you can do the fasting blood sugar, then the pre-diabetics impaired fasting blood sugar. So those ones are done by the specialist in the laboratory, and the result is interpreted just the way you are looking at it. Now, if your the normal blood sugar level, fasting blood sugar means a test that is done while you have not eaten, when you have not taken your meal, when you have not taken your breakfast, and this must be done just before 9 a.m. in the morning. Before 9 a.m., such a test must be done. A blood sample specimen is taken in the laboratory and they check. So the normal range for fasting blood sugar should be 70 milligrams per deciliter of blood to 105 milligrams per deciliter of blood. Now, the pre-diabetes impaired fasting blood glucose. Maybe I should tell us what the pre-diabetes is, then I'll now come and interpret that result to us. Now, there's the phase just before somebody is said to have diabetes. That is the pre-diabetes phase. The blood sugar level is said to be high, but it's not high enough to be considered diabetes. It is above normal, but it's not as high as when we refer to somebody as having diabetes. So this is the particular stage that everybody should watch out for. Most people dwell around this phase without knowing it. But if you are very lucky that around this phase, you do a self-check on yourself and you are able to pick it at this stage, it's a wonderful thing because you now begin to monitor yourself so that you don't go to the stage of having diabetes. So this is where lifestyle actually play a very significant role in whether you are going to develop diabetes or you are just going to go back and fall out of the pre-diabetic phase. Let me quickly chip this in. Diabetes is not curable, but it can be well managed with your cooperation and good medical medical care. You cannot have diabetes and don't go and see your doctor. This pre-diabetes phase is where we are going to lay all the emphasis today. That is, if you don't want to have diabetes, you must do the following. So let me go back and share the range with you. So at what stage would you know that your blood sugar level is getting higher and that you should begin to watch what you eat and your activities as a person? So when your fasting blood 108 fasting, you must begin to get worried. That means that result is peaked when you have not eaten and it's already 108 milligram to 125 milligram. So you should get worried. So by the time your fasting blood sugar hits 126 milligram per ml of blood, will tell you that you have actually entered into the diabetic phase proper. So what determines your diabetes status is the result of your fasting blood sugar, which will be 126 and above. So there is the impaired postprandial glucose, the random, which is done randomly. And when that also hits 140 milligram to 199 at random, then at random you eat 200 and above, then that is said to be a confirmed diabetes. So you see that every individual have the tendency of passing through the pre-diabetic phase. And for those that do their checks regularly, those that are very active, that goes out for exercise and are very, very mindful of what they eat and drink, this phase will not be a problem to them because they can easily put under control the excessive sugar in their blood by simply maintaining a very good lifestyle. So how does our lifestyle, exactly what we do, how does it prevent us from having diabetes when we are in the pre-diabetic phase? So we advise people at risk. Who are at risk? Those people that, women especially, that during their their reproductive age, they at one time or the other have what they call the gestational diabetes. Maybe some of us, while we're having our children during pregnancies, our blood sugar level, we were told that our blood sugar level was just too high, and immediately you give back to that child, your blood sugar level goes back to normal. Such a woman is at risk of developing diabetes in future. Also, if you come from a family that diabetes run in that family, there's the possibility that you also would have inherited the gene. So you are at risk. Who again is at risk? Anybody that have disease condition that is affecting the pancreas, the activities or the normal functioning of the pancreas will also be at risk. And those that have been said to have pre-diabetes, you are at risk. If you don't take precaution at this stage, you can graduate to developing diabetes proper. So what are the interventions I want to recommend to each and every one of us this morning? The first thing is the dietary control. Now, if you look at this picture here, you will find some diets on the left side, which is your right side there, that we say they are healthy for you to take, and it's thick green. And those on the right side is these are the categories of food that I want us to avoid, especially because of our age and because we are no longer active. So, intakes, fruits, beans, legumes, and other high fiber. We replace saturated fat. The saturated fat are said to be the kind of fat that is not healthy for our health. So we replace such fatty diets like taking plantain chips, crepes, pastries, biscuits. Samosa falls under this category. Fortunately, when we all attend functions, we are served the usual proper menu thing, samosa. So we watch how much of it we take at any time because it contains a lot of saturated fat and all the processed food. So we replace such saturated food with unsaturated food. So if you are going to, for example, take your chicken, we encourage you to take your chicken without the skin, or your turkey. So we prefer that you grill and steam your food rather than fry or roast. Then also we talk about the portioning of your meal. It's always very good, whether you have pre-diabetes or not, at this age, to reduce our intake of food, the bulkiness of our food. You finish eating and you belch and you say, I think at this stage, we should begin to reduce the quantity of meal we take at a time. We can spread that same amount of food out into 2 or 3 portions. Now, also exercise is of a very, very, very important part of managing oneself. Taking regular physical exercise of 30 to 40 minutes per day will not only prevent you from developing diabetes, but it will prevent you from becoming obese and it will keep you fit. You can be slim and not be fit medically. So it's not all the people that are slim that are fit. So fitness is not determined by size in the body. Somebody can be fat and be fit. So you have to be fit and you have to control your body weight. So exercise is very, very good for 30 to 30 minutes. Take a walk every day in a very safe place. We know these days, most of the places where we can take a walk is taken over by Okada and Marwa and all the rest. But if you must take a walk, please just make sure wherever you are going to walk, take your walk is safe. And never back an oncoming vehicle if you are walking. For example, if you're taking a walk on a path that cars, bike and Marwa fly, please make sure you don't back the coming vehicle. Cross to the other side of the road and face the coming vehicle. So if there is any problem coming your way, you will quickly take a dash away from the road instead of being knocked down. Also, exercise is to be taken with caution, especially when you have developed hypertension. Please, I want to advise that anybody with any chronic disease or disorders, especially hypertension, you must do your workout with your doctors. any exercise that anybody is engaged in that makes you to open your mouth and start to use your mouth to breathe rather than breathing through your nostrils is putting you into stress and is challenging your heart. So I will advise that when you find yourself at that stage, please stop that exercise, return home, take a cold drink, take a warm bath, and check your blood pressure. If it is significantly higher than normal, please go to the hospital immediately. So that is also for exercise. Now, weight loss, gradual weight loss. When your body mass index, I will share the body mass index page during the course of this presentation. It's a little bit complicating on how you check your body mass index, but just know that your height and your weight is what is considered when you are trying to check your BMI. And for a normal BMI, it should be between 18.5 to 24.9. For a normal height person, maybe 5.5, 7, 5, 6, 5, 8, because that also matters when you are trying to consider your BMI. But I want to advise us that checking your weight using a weighing scale will also give you an insight into whether you are falling out of the normal body weight for your height. If you are 5.6 and you check your weight as a woman and you are above 70 kilograms, please begin to get concerned. Begin to get concerned. Begin to think about doing exercise and cutting down on your carbohydrate intake. Although we all need that carbohydrate because the body needs energy to work. If not, your body will begin to convert some other nutrients and begin to generate energy with it. So also we need to manage stress. Stress is the major cause of so many chronic diseases, especially as it affects people that are in their 50s and above. Stress management is one thing that everybody should endeavor to understand. It will not only help you to either prevent you from developing diabetes, it will also help you not to develop some other conditions such as hypertension, heart disease, and all what's not. Now, how do you manage your stress? I will talk about the physical management, which is take your exercise, have somebody that you can confide in when you are troubled. I know we all have various challenges that we are going through. Don't bottle up unpleasant scenarios. Look for someone to share it with. If you can't trust anybody around you, you should be able to trust your religious leaders, your godfathers, either in Islam or in the Christendom. Just don't bottle up issues. Speak out. When you speak out, someone will be there to also share that with you and be able to help you look at options in getting you out of that situation. Bereavement is one of the major things during this age, at this age of ours. Bereavement of a loved one, especially when it involves our children. May God watch over our children in the mighty name of Jesus. May we not know the graveyard of our children in the mighty name of Jesus. Husband and wife, you will
Amen.
live long enough in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
But when the inevitable happens, loss of spouse or a loved one or children always put one under undue stress, apprehension, anxiety. And for a very long time, so many people are unable to manage that period of crisis very well. Please seek advice from even counselors. You can visit any of the general hospitals and ask for the counseling department and share your burdens with them. They'll be able to assist you, give you phone call, tell you some things to do. Then we must learn to commit to the hand of God unpleasant situations that we find ourselves. Most of us as retirees, we have burdens because we are retired. That regular income is no longer there. Some of us we still have children in their institution of higher learning. Some of us, it's our children that is giving us problem. Please just turn all of these things to prayers, because getting worried will not change that situation, but it will only put us in danger. It will put our lives, our health in jeopardy, and we will not be there to help that child out if it's a child that is giving you that worry, that worrisome experience. So please, I want us to take good care of our emotions and seek advice where possible. Now, if after you have done all of these things, you control your diet, you do your exercise, you are mindful of what you think, taking sugary things, especially when you are in the borderline, the pre-diabetic state, taking too much of carbohydrates, not exercising so much, taking alcohol, exposing yourself to some sexual immoralities, please permit me, some activities that will put you into having infections, that you will not be so confident of yourself to go out and express to professionals. For example, if somebody at this age will now go and contact STI, how would you go and tell your doctor and all the rest? So I want us to be very, very mindful of what we do and what we eat. Now, if after doing all of these things and you still find yourself not being able to control your blood sugar level and you hit that range of diabetes, I want to tell you it is not the end of life. There are a lot of people, I'm so grateful, though I joined the session a little bit late, but I still heard the PS mentioned about the former president of this country having diabetes. And yet Baba is waxing stronger and stronger every day, looking healthier, than even some people that don't have diabetes, because he understands his medical challenge and is doing everything to put himself under check. So what now happens if one develops diabetes? There are different types of diabetes. The type 1 is that type called the juvenile or the insulin dependent. This is caused basically as a result of the pancreas not secreting insulin at all. So such a person that is diagnosed to have the type 1 diabetes will have to live on insulin for life. Insulin for life. That is, insulin is not produced at all. Although this condition is very rare and it can appear, it can occur at any stage in life. It affects children, it affects young adults, it affects adults too, though very rare and not really very common, like the type 2. So we go to the type 2. The type 2 is also called the insulin resistant diabetes. This is the commonest type of diabetes, common amongst all age group, children, young adults, aged. But the beauty of it is that when you know early enough, you start to change your lifestyle. Your lifestyle cannot be the same again once you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. You can no longer go to those social functions and enjoy everything that is provided in that place. Please, I beg of us, party, first meal course, àwọn kan tètè máa ń dé party, ẹgbẹ́ rice yẹn wá, ẹgbẹ́ dòdò àti kinní yẹn wá, ẹgbẹ́ kinní kan wá. Please, we must understand that life is no longer going to be the same with diabetes. So, how does this happen? It's either your body, there is production of insulin. So it's either the insulin is not enough, or your body is not able to use that insulin to control the flow of glucose in your blood. Let me just leave it that way. So we advise strictly that you adherent to a very healthy lifestyle. Now we go to the gestational diabetes. Although most of us in this on this platform, we have gone past this stage. We might have had it when we were having our children, but at least it's just good for us to know that there's what they call gestational diabetes that's got to do with pregnancy. This is called the pregnancy-induced diabetes. So we need to know about it because of our children, okay? So that once they present with this, we also be able to know what advice to give to them. Although immediately after that child is born, yes, the blood sugar level without any form of medication drops. But mind you, that condition can be triggered if you lose your lifestyle along the line. So you are a potential person to having diabetes if you have ever had gestational diabetes. Now, how do you know symptoms of diabetes? I will classify this into two categories. The first category is that sometimes you don't even know you have, which is asymptomatic. It is one problem or the other that takes you to the hospital, and it will be doing other investigations that the doctor will probably ask that test be done, and they will now discover that the blood glucose level is higher than normal. That's a very dangerous one. Very, very dangerous. Because that means it's been in the body for a very long time, and it has caused some damages to maybe some of the organs. We get there. Now, other commonest symptoms is excessive thirst. Bó ń gbẹ yẹn ṣe ń gbẹ mí gan, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni mo ṣe ń momi gan, bí mo ṣe ń momi yẹn gan, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni mo ṣe ń tọ̀ gan. Now, the environment and temperature can actually influence this. This is why we cannot say categorically excessive thirst, excessive drinking of water, and excessive urination is a confirmation for diabetes, because when the weather is very hot, of course, we can have that urge that, and you drink that water, you keep drinking. But in the night, during the day you sweat, but it is in the night that you will now know. By the time you start to wake up 4 or 5 times in the night, then you begin to query yourself. Although the diet we took before going to bed can also alter that symptom. So we don't want to categorically say, bí mo ṣe ń gbóǹgbẹ́ yẹn ṣe ń gbẹ mí, bí mo ṣe ń momi sí, bí mo ṣe ń tọ̀ sí, mo ti ní diabetes. So go and have a check once you see these 3 symptoms. They are always very common with people with diabetes. So then, when we now start to experience this unusual tiredness, kó máa rẹ̀yàn láti inú, kàn ṣáà rẹ̀ mí, láì jẹ́ pé you are actually involved in any serious physical activities. So when you get to this particular stage, please go and see your doctor and check your blood sugar level. And if you have your glucometer at home, please do your check at this time. So we go to the later symptom. By the time anybody starts to feel or see or experience any of these symptoms, be rest assured that the organs of the body are already involved. For example, the nausea and vomiting, the digestive system is involved. Hunger, the digestive system is involved. Unplanned weight loss, blood vision, your eyes is getting involved. Loss of libido, your reproductive organ is getting involved. I will come to loss of libido. Dry mouth, your digestive system and endocrine system is getting involved. Itching of the skin, yes, you are getting involved. Your skin, which is the largest organ in your body. Slow healing of wound, pain or numbness in the feet or leg, then yeast infection. Yeast infection will come as in itching around the private parts. You know, you itch, and the place becomes red or whitish, or in women underneath the breast line, like that. You itch and it turns white. Could be a yeast infection and could be as a result of diabetes. Now, I've talked about asymptomatic. Now, I'll go to loss of libido, blurring of vision. Now, it is not all the time that our vision is impaired as a result of hereditary or genetic factor. Some people will say, in my family, I'm on low glasses. Yes. But with diabetes, it has that affinity of causing blurring. I don't know how to really explain this, and I don't want to be technical, but it now begins to affect the way you see, to such an extent that if you don't quickly detect that it is diabetes, one will just sleep and wake up and you find that you are unable to even see at all. It starts gradually from blurring of vision to partial blindness to total blindness. One year of not often. Meanwhile, it is simple diabetes, which was not discovered or which was poorly managed. Now, that is one point. So I will encourage us from now, whether you're using glasses or not, whether you come from a family that they wear glasses, please go regularly, at least 2 times every year, and see your ophthalmologist. Ophthalmologist, see your optician. Opticians are the ones that prescribe glasses. Ophthalmologists are the ones that see beyond glasses. They see your eyes in totality and see and identify if there are challenges there. So before it gets to total blindness. Now, loss of libido is one of the many causes of broken homes and infidelity in marriages these days. During the course of my work when I was in one of the general hospitals, I counseled a man who had diabetes for 15 years. And the thing has affected his sexual performance. And the wife became nagging, a nagging wife, because she's not getting the attention that a wife should get from the husband. She decided to take it back from the husband. When you have satisfied yourself, your sexual urge outside, you will come home and you'll be pretending that you are tired. So when we now discover that, look, this is diabetes and it has actually affected his performance sexually, I asked that the wife be invited. So I did the counseling for the two of them, and I made the wife to understand that we need her to really help her husband get out of this stage. If not, it will get worse and she will be the loser. It's either she help her husband to get back to perform, or she goes and seek help outside, and she will expose herself to all the STIs outside. She will lose her dignity and self-respect and self-esteem as a woman. She will no longer be referred to as a responsible woman. So we started with dietary control, with exercise and regular check. Just that three. And coming to clinic. Then I introduced them to a diabetic club. Sincerely speaking, within 3 months, it was like a magic. The man picked up. It was the woman herself that came back to tell me, mommy, Emma Sheung, Okomima tin later, money tackle me. I now pretended as if I don't understand. Because the other time, she did everything to discourage me that her husband is seeing another woman outside. So she narrated her experience with her husband. And I said, now, that diet that you are preparing for that man, that has made that man to have a well-controlled blood sugar level, please continue with it. Let him take his drugs, do his exercise, and show him love more than ever. And that was the end of the case. This couple, they returned back. I'm telling you, they are in their 60s, both husband and wife. They are not young people. So you can see that even during the aged period, there is always that urge to want to have your partner around you. We can't query God. That's the making of our body. And the body will take it when he wants it, either from the legitimate route or not. This is why you find rape becoming a crazy thing these days. So that could be one of the many reasons. How will a very old person go and carry small children and be experimenting? Maybe the wife has lost a sense of sexual activities in the house, and the man is just pressed. With all due respect, sirs, women have a better hold when it comes to sex than the men. And this is why it's very common in men. Like I said, it is science and the way God has made our body. So self-discipline and management, when there is need, will help you manage the loss of libido. Now, we go to, now, who are the people that can develop type 2 diabetes? Like I said the other time, people who have had gestational diabetes, people who have prediabetes, people age 45 and above, people that are overweight or obese, people who really are not involved in physical activities, especially our retire by. Kasha jẹun ká sùn ká wo gbogbo movie àti mi rò pé àwọn àgbàlagbà máa ń sábà wo Z-World, but gbogbo movie àwọn Adélọ́dún àti gbogbo ẹ̀ tá bá ti jókòó ojú kan náà tá bá wà yẹn láàárọ̀, especially àwọn dádì wa, ẹ má bínú ẹ̀yin dádì wa o, mọ́mì náà máa lọ kitchen tó máa ṣe oúnjẹ, mọ́mì náà máa wá park plate, ẹ̀yin kàn máa jókòó tí yẹn máa gbá fàájì, ẹ̀yin tí mo wó lẹ́ẹ̀kan ṣóúnjẹ, ẹ̀yin á dẹ̀ tún wo bọ́ọ̀. So you have to sit out of where you are seated. If you sit in a place for 30 minutes, no matter what you are doing, just get up, take a walk for 5 minutes, even within your sitting room, then you go back and sit and go ahead with what you are doing. Sitting down for too long will make you to gain much weight. Ẹ rí pé láyé COVID nígbà tá ní lockdown yẹn, àwọn oríṣiríṣi fat belly fat ló develop sí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn lára. So ìgbà tán ní lockdown tán yìí ṣe quite a number of people wọ́n sáré gba gym lọ ni. And I know definitely all of these things will be a continuous thing that we have to do, not only to control our weight, but also to keep fit and prevent us from having heart diseases too. Now, people who engage in unhealthy lifestyle, if you are still a retiree and you are smoking, you are not helping yourself. If you are a retiree and you are drinking alcohol massively, you are not helping yourself. If you are a retiree and you are engaged in taking junk food, order pizza, order pizza, daddy no ma ba won towo nu buns, samosa, cake, ice cream, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yẹn. Please, at our age, I think we should cut down drastically on them. Now, before I go to the complications of diabetes, I want us to know that the same way we say blood sugar level when it is high is dangerous, I want us to know that for our brain to function normally, for us to be able to do our daily activities, we need some reasonable level of glucose in our blood. So, in glucose here, another problem. So, but it must be within the normal range. I didn't talk about hypoglycemia here. That is low blood sugar level. Our category of what they have actually is the low blood sugar level. So if you are in that category, you must always have with you at home cake or sugar or soft drink, 7-Up. Always carry one of these 3 items along with you when you are going out. If you are in the category of people that are having hypoglycemia, low blood sugar level. When it is too low, it is as dangerous as when it is too high. So now we go to the complications. If you experience all of these things that we have mentioned and you fail to change your lifestyle, this is what is likely going to happen, apart from all the ones that I have mentioned. Damage to your nerve, the eyes, and your leg. This is why it is always very common for people with diabetes, long-standing diabetes, to develop either partial blindness or total blindness. Then it is always also very common to have them have amputation done. If you go to their department in Lasuth, you will see so many people carrying one leg. Why? Because there was a damage to the nerve and there was no blood flow to that part of the limb, and that part of the leg dies off naturally. And the only thing that the doctors would want to think about is for the infection not to spread any further up. So they would prefer to quickly remove that part, and the person is left with the challenge of carrying one limb. Don't let us wait till we get to that stage. So the food problem, which normally leads to amputation, the eye problem, heart problem, stroke, kidney problems, and eventually leading to death. Now, if you look at this diagram I'm showing you, I'll call it a head to toe involvement of diabetes. You can see that diabetes from your head to your leg affects every part of your body. So for the people that feel, I will escape, if it is not affecting all of these organs as been highlighted here, if it affects just one of that challenge, you will know by the time you start to go to the hospital to see consultants, you will know the implications of not maintaining a good lifestyle. It affects your eyes, it affects your gum, it affects your heart, it affects your kidneys, it affects your sexual organ, it affects your skin, it affects your foot, it affects your bladder. So all of those things that I've mentioned earlier, this is the head to toe involvement in the body of an individual in summary. Now, if you now eventually realize this is where you are, what are you expected to do? What am I expected to do? I'll say the management of diabetes. The first thing you do is say to yourself, I will not die. Because this is what I tell my patient. Because if you don't say to yourself, I will not die of diabetes, then you will not deliberately be doing some certain things that will not make you die. So you say to yourself, I will not die. Know the exact type of diet that triggers your blood sugar level, and know those ones that you eat, because the body is not made equal. What you take and the quantity you take that will trigger your blood sugar level might not trigger another person's blood sugar level at the same rate, even when you take the same quantity. And it also depends on what level of diabetic stage you are. If you are in the stage 2, the early part of it, when your blood sugar level is still under 130, yes. Now, I also tell my patients to say to themselves, ẹnu mi ò ní pa mí, mi ò ní kú, ẹnu mi ò dẹ̀ ní pa mí. You know, it is not only what you say with your mouth that can put you in problem. What you eat with your mouth too can also put you into problem. So, mi ò ní kú, ẹnu mi ò dẹ̀ ní pa mí. So, you do your exercise regularly. For example, you need to have a time frame for you going to do your exercise. If it's a 30 minutes walk, is it in the morning before the rising of the sun, or is it in the evening at the set of the sun? So if it is in the evening, make it regular in the evening. If it is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, make it regular. Might not be every day of the week. Might just be one day of the week. If it is weekend, that is very good for you. Make sure it is weekend. If it is 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., make it constant and do it that way. I want to tell us that by the time you start to do a regular exercise, please, it is usually not very pleasant at the beginning. You feel some pains around your thighs, you feel some pain around your hands, you feel so discouraged that you will want to say, I am not doing again. Your body definitely is going to adjust to it. I will encourage you to drink lots of water when you just start. Please don't use an analgesic. Don't use paracetamol or any painkiller when you develop pain as a result of exercise. Let your body develop its own way of adapting to your exercise, because it's going to be a continuous one. Then, like I said the other time, make sure if you have any other disease condition, especially that involves your heart or a chronic condition, please don't start with a very tedious exercise. Start with a mild exercise in the house. You can just stand in front of your mirror and just do this, stretch out, do this gradually, and you raise one leg up, raise one leg, the other leg up, shake your waist, twist your body, do that, to start with, especially when you have other chronic conditions. Then before you start to go to outside, you can also purchase for yourself some gadgets in the home. Casual gadgets such as the one you can cycle on, or the one that is simple, common weight lifting, something just to help you exercise your hand. And there is one casual one that somebody used sometimes ago in my house. It can do like over 100 and it's manually produced. So we don't need to go for all those expensive gadgets. Then if you can afford it, register yourself and your family in the gym where you can go and you have an instructor and you have access to so many other things. But just be careful, your bones are getting fragile with age, so you don't jog. Don't jog, don't run, don't lift every weight. Also, keep your clinic appointment, go to clinic regularly, care for your food. Now, I will advise that whether you have diabetes or not, please, it is always very good once in at least 6 months, go and enjoy yourself in the salon. Tell them you want to do pedicure. Let them scrape that dead cell from your leg. Soak your leg in warm water. Enjoy the environment. They help you to massage your leg, massage your hand, scrape the dead cell at least once in 6 months so that you don't develop the food problem. Also, you should also go for your routine medical checkup. Check on your cholesterol, please, because diabetes and hypertension, they are like egbon and aburo. Most people that have diabetes end up having hypertension. So I will always want to encourage us to have a regular check on our cholesterol and our blood pressure alongside the site, the dentist. Remember, we talk about gum involvement. So see your dentist too, to be sure that your gums, your mouth is healthy, your gum is healthy, your teeth are healthy. Because there's a disease condition that affects the gum that makes the teeth to just drop off on its own. So please see your dentist at least once or twice in a year too. Then see your ophthalmologist and your optician. Your glasses, you must see your optician every 2 years to review your glasses. Then I will also encourage you to join the diabetic club, especially when you know you have pre-diabetes or you are at risk. So in conclusion, lifestyle does affect diabetes. So it is either when you adopt a healthy lifestyle, you don't have diabetes, or you are able to manage diabetes. And when you have an unhealthy lifestyle, you put yourself at risk of developing the type 2 diabetics, which is the commonest type of diabetes, and stand the risk of developing all the complications. Remember, life no get duplicates. We are retirees. Our pension money is so mega. We thank Lagos State government for those that are beginning to earn, and for those of us that are yet to earn. I pray, Abawalayo atalafia kò ní bá wa nínú àìsàn lórúkọ Jésù. The little that God has given to us, a ò ní fi wo àìsàn, will not manage health, and will not die untimely. Thank you very much. God bless you. So if you have any question, please you may ask.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sijuade has a very educative presentation. We are grateful. As our presentation was going on, we had some retired permanent secretaries that joined us. Mrs. Florence Ubutuashi joined us. She's also a one-time honorable commissioner in the Lagos State government. Dr. Mrs. Oduwole also joined us. Mrs. Okewo joined. Mr. Osiefa. We also had Mrs. Odejayi, Mr. Ashimi, and then former Accountant General, who was also State Auditor General at one time. He also joined us. Mrs. Abide Miraji also joined us. They are all retired permanent secretaries. We are very glad to have you. You are welcome. This is a very educative presentation. Thank you once again, Mrs. Sijuade, for that presentation. I know I have personally learned a lot myself, and I'm sure we have questions that we would like to ask her. So you are very free. You can indicate by raising your hands. I mean, via the Zoom app. And then you can also type your question. So feel free, and then I will allow you to unmute, and then you can ask your question. Okay, I see Mrs. Ogutuashe. Please unmute, ma, and ask your question, ma.
Good morning, my dear lecturer. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, ma.
Can you hear me,
Good
please?
to have you, ma. Yes, you are very audible, ma.
Thank you very much. I try as much as possible not to miss these sessions because they are really educative and informative. I joined as the lecture was going on, so I didn't get some of the presentation from the beginning. However, I'd like to ask the presenter that some of us have been slim from birth. Irrespective of what I have eaten over the years, I have maintained the same slim stature that I can remember. Now, people often say that shrinking comes with aging. And now that aging is taking place, I looked at all the symptoms of diabetes. Some of them, I am not a diabetic. I've tested that I am not. However, I exhibit some of these symptoms and it looks like I'm shrinking. And it's very embarrassing when people say, kilo share, but I don't have any issues. So what am I going to do to pop up a bit to say, don't eat this, don't eat that? The more I run away from all those things, the slimmer I get. And people scare me a lot by saying, oti ruo. So help me out. Oh, thank you.
Okay. I would want to say to the earlier part that you have always been slim. Sincerely speaking, that is more of a genetic condition. It's either daddy or the mommy, they are not on the big side, or your body, or you inherited from one great grandparent. I don't see any problem with you having a slim but healthy. I made mention of this during my presentation, that to be fit is not measured by your weight or your size. If you are slim and you are fit, man, please, kudos to you. Go ahead, maintain your lifestyle. Now, as we age naturally, the body cells are not really regenerating. So there's every tendency that we start to drop weight. Also, our digestive system slows down. So you will realize that sometimes we are unable to even eat what the quantity of food that we used to eat ordinarily before the age started catching up with some of us. Also, it could also be as a result of poor metabolism. So you can see a doctor. Once they conduct a check on you, you are utilizing all the food you have been eating very well, perfectly well, and it's just your nature that you are not fat and you are fit physically and mentally, psychologically, and in every facet of life. I'll ask you to just count yourself lucky. Most people are fighting to burn those fats. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We also have Dr. Layeni, who is also raising a hand. Please unmute, ma, and ask your question or make your comments.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. And thank you to our speaker, who is a sister. Good morning. Thank you for that presentation.
Good morning, Auntie.
How are you? Yes.
Fine, thank you, Auntie.
Yes. I just want to make two comments really. Number one, about the figures. It's been highly documented that the figures in the Black race and the aging process, that the absolute figures for what we call the normal fasting blood sugar, and also the 2 hours postprandial or the pre-diabetic state, can go as high as 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. So that if we see a figure that is slightly higher than what has been presented, we should not panic too much, but we should be guided and see the doctor as well. That's one. Then the second comment is, a lot of people, there's this belief, and even in educated people also, that they've been told that if they stop eating carbohydrates totally, and then they then restrict their diet to specific, just be eating vegetables or fruit or some specific food, that they will be okay. Carbohydrate is still very important in diabetic state, and we just have to, any food that we eat, anything that we do, is do it in moderation. Eat it small. We can eat 10 times a day if it's so big. We can eat what we believe that we enjoy eating, but let it be part of a controlled diet that we adopt. But it's not to stop carbohydrate, because there is some people in Secretariat that visited somebody in Abeokuta, and they were told to stop carbohydrate, and it was quite a battle, because it has its effect, because it gives us calories. So those are my contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Actually, I do advise my patients, because we actually, when I was in Nigeria, this was a very big problem. What Auntie Layeni just made mention of was a very big problem, and people started coming down with some other problems as a result of not taking carbohydrate, just like I made mention of it the other time too. So what we decided to do is that we asked them to get a particular type of bowl. There's these different types of plates in the market. they portion the bowl. It's round. I don't know if I have a picture of it. They portion they marketed the bowl. So you can put your vegetable in one portion, you can put your rice in one portion, you can put your beans in one portion, just to control the quantity you are taking at a time. It is very, very important that you take all the food nutrients, even with diabetes, for as long as you are on your drugs, you are exercising, you are having your regular checks, and you are going to the hospital for your clinic appointment. Take all food nutrients, but in a very small proportion for your carbohydrate, and increase your food with fiber. More of the legumes, if you are taking one portion of rice, take 2 portions of beans and 2 portions of your vegetables with it. Thank you. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
The 20th head of service, Mrs. Folashade Adesoye, will want to ask a question. I can see that her hands are raised up. Please, can you unmute, ma, and ask your question, ma? Please unmute, ma.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me now?
You are audible, ma.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to say good morning to everyone.
Good morning, ma.
And also want to appreciate the head of service and also the head of service, the office of the head of service, for arranging these sessions for us. And also the director, Mrs. Durodola, you have done well.
Thank you, ma.
And also our presenter. This session has been very, very impactful. My question is this. Yes, you said that we should eat fruits and vegetables and other things, but I'm particular about fruits that are very sweet, like pineapple, watermelon, pawpaw. Are these fruits, are they injurious to health, or how much of it can we take? Thank you.
Good morning, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Now, when we talk about fruits, we bless God that in this part of the world, we have fruits cutting across the various seasons. Usually, if one don't have diabetes, one can actually take all the various fruits that is in the season. However, with diabetes, some of these citrus, we advise normally that they take with caution, especially people who have been diagnosed to have diabetes, whether type 2, which is the most common one. So for example, if such a person wants to take orange, just a ball of orange, I will advise that the person cuts it into 4 and just take 1 portion at a time after the meal. He or she can spread out the remaining portion. The idea is not just taking everything in that large quantity. So if it's 1 orange per day, slice into 4, take 1 portion with this meal, take another portion at another time. So you give your body the ability to digest and push through. So by the time you want medication in the morning, and you have loaded yourself with so much of the sugar, by the time you take the evening meal and you do your check 2 hours later, the thing would have gone up. Although with regular medication, exercise, and portioning one's food, just like Dr. Oluyinka said, I think it goes a long way in helping. Sweet fruit can be converted, okay, to taking some other unsweet or citrus food. We have things like garden egg, we have cucumber, we have the lettuce, we have the cabbage, we have the walnuts. Yes, all of these still we stand and compete reasonably well with the citrus. So I will advise that anybody that takes citrus and after doing your check, you have a spike, then note very well that that citrus is either you reduce the quantity or you replace with another type of fruit. Banana is also a very good one. Banana is also a very good one. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm able to answer your question, ma'am.
Thank you. Then I also have here former State Auditor General and a one-time Accountant General for Lagos State, also raising his hand. Can we have you, sir? Please unmute and ask your question, sir. Unmute, sir, and ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Durodola.
You're welcome,
Good
sir.
morning, our guest speaker, and all
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, our head of services, all the PAMSECs and all guests. Thank you very much for this very useful lecture. My question is this: what is the position of local herbs in the management of diabetes? You know, I know a number of people that have diabetes and they are on drugs. But every time you see on the social media a number of herbs and natural plants, like, for example, okra to be soaked in water, bitter cola, and things that are said to be useful in controlling the diabetes. What do you say in adding this to the normal drugs that a person uses? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I deliberately did not make mention of home remedies in the management of diabetes because it's so appalling the rate at which the social media is flooded with information. But most of these informations are not scientifically proven, and this is why I did not make mention of them. They are not scientifically proven, and what is not scientifically proven, I think usually one would just want to play safe and don't play around it. When I showed the picture of the head to toe involvement of organs in diabetes, there was the part that involves the kidneys. All these herbal concoctions, all these home remedies, they have their impact on certain organs that helps us to excrete and stop whatsoever we say. The kidney and the liver specifically. Any other concoction or home remedy to take, and it's not scientifically backed up, I think it's better for the sake of the fact that those two organs in the body are always challenged. Okay, when we add other things that we cannot say specifically, this is the side effect of me taking this concussion or taking this particular stuff, if you're not sure of it, and I'm sure science will not be in support of it. If science is in support of it, they would have proven it and they would have shown to the world. But I want to encourage us to please avoid all the home remedies. There are drugs you can take with good dietary, soever you like taking. The present management of diabetes really does not restrict an individual from taking the kind of meal he or she likes to take. What we advocate is that have your regular check, be on your drugs, do your exercise, take in small portion all of these things, and you'll be good to go. Thank you very much, sir. I think I'll be able to answer your question, sir.
Thank you. Then I have a question here. That person said, is there a relationship between prostate and diabetes?
Prostate and diabetes. Now, we made mention during when I was trying to mention the complications of untreated or managed or poorly managed diabetes. And we also show in the picture when we said the reproductive organs. Now, I will not specifically say that diabetes can give rise to prostate cancer or anything. But one thing that's very certain with long-standing untreated diabetes is that it can lead to so many other complications that will trigger off some certain disease conditions in some certain people who are at risk of developing those disease conditions. So that's my take, sir.
Right.
I wouldn't say directly there is no relationship, sir. There could be.
Okay, would that be all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know if you have more questions. Okay.
Somebody's asking if they can get a hard copy of this message.
Yeah, I've responded to that
Or
person.
the soft copy.
Yes,
Okay.
I've asked him to send his email or WhatsApp number.
Okay, ma'am.
Any more questions, comments? The floor is still open for another 2-3 minutes. Okay, it seems we are all satisfied. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sijuade, for very educative and impactful presentation. I want one of us to appreciate Mrs. Sijuade for this presentation. one of us can just signify and say thank you to. Okay, before we do that, I'm seeing a question. Somebody said, does diabetes have any relationship with goiter disease? Did you hear that question? Okay.
Yes, I'm even reading it here too. Now, we said diabetes is a metabolic disorder. Now, once anything is strong enough to affect the organs of the body, I might not be able to give the pathophysiology or how it happens because it's not in my own field of work, if I may just say that. But I want to believe whatsoever is strong enough to affect all the organs of the body could trigger off, like I said the other time, could be a predisposing factor to the coming up of some other disease conditions or ailments in the body, in as much as it is not well managed. I cannot particularly say the pathophysiology or how it happens, but all I know is that once it's able to affect the necessary organs, and it does affect the endocrine system too. So if it does affect the endocrine system, and goiter is classified under that category of condition, I want to say, if it is not well managed, of course, it can prop up anything. Remember, we talk about stress too. And remember, with stress can bring about so many disease conditions too. Thank you very much. Hope I'm able to answer that question too.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Now, can somebody, on behalf of the retirees of Lagos State Public Service, appreciate Mrs. Sijuade for this impactful presentation? Okay, let me just nominate someone. Dr. Mrs. Layeni, I'm nominating you for that assignment. Please unmute.
Okay, sorry, I have a mouthful. That's why.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I want to, on behalf of the retirees of Lagos State, I want to appreciate you, Mrs. Sijuade. I know that you are a health educator by excellence. Call her anytime. She will give you tips on what to do for behavioral change. And we want to also thank the Office of the Head of Service and the Post-Service Department for organizing this impactful series. It's done, I think it's done every 2 weeks now. It's good for us to be abreast of all issues, and they've taken it to heart to make sure that we are well enlightened. So I want to say a big thank you to you, to my Ogas, the former head of service, Mrs. Folashade Adeso, and all the retired PAMSEC. Nice to see you on board. Please continue to join. And to all the other retirees, let's keep it up. We still need to continue to be abreast of things. Thank you very much. Have a
interesting lecture. I want to seriously appreciate our mother in the house, Mama Africa, Mrs. Folashade Adesoye, for being there for us at all times. Esheun Goma, thank you for adding value. Mrs. Raji Abidemi, Mrs. Obutuashe, who has left, Mrs. Yetunde Odejayi, all other participants. We really appreciate you for adding value to this lecture. Definitely it's a thing that requires our attention because we are talking of health. At that age we have attained, we need to look after ourselves, and that is why I really want to appreciate all those who deem it fit and necessary to be part of it. I want to join us. As I will always say, we don't just listen. Those things that are beneficial to us, we put it into practice for our well-being. While appreciating you, I also want to convey the appreciation of the head of service to all participants at all times. Thank you very much. The facilitator, Mrs. Sijuade, we want to appreciate you. That was a beautiful one, and we have gained and learned a lot. So on that note, on behalf of the head of service, hereby declare the webinar for today closed. Thank you very much, and Johnny Mrs.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can all unmute now. I want to say a very big thank you to all of us that have joined today.
Thank you.
The 20th head of service.
Thank you,
Thank
you.
Thank you, every member of the office of the head of service. And thank you, Mrs. Sijuade.
You're welcome.
Chairman, Governing Council.
Thank you. Nice to hear you. All right, ma.
Thank you.
This is Raji.
Àlàáfíà ni gbogbo wa wà o. Ọlọ́run àlàáfíà wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa o.
Àmín o. Ìlera la máa fi láyé wa o. Lórúkọ Jésù. Our health will not waste our wealth o.
Amen.
Agbára Ọlọ́run, a máa gbúrò ayọ̀.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, ma. Bye for now.
Yes, ma.
What is the matter?
It's not. It wasn't any praise.
Yes, sir. Sir. Congratulations all over.
Yes, ma.
Yeah, Mrs. Brodola.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Yes. Ẹ bá wa wá ẹni tó máa take wa lórí nav.
Nav, okay, ma. Okay, ma.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma.
Àwọn degenerative diseases, especially nav.
Okay, ma.
It's very common.
Yes.
Okay. That is noted.
Emma supply wa ní fibers and co. A lè fi jẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ ìkó ṣe dáadáa o.
Mama Yeti. Mama.
Hello. This is Dodola.
Mama Yeti.
Dodola Oluyinka ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ o.
Okay, sir.
Ẹ bá máa send the hard copy sí àbí soft copy sórí kíní wa so that a lè máa go through.
I will do that, sir.
Àti ti last time yẹn náà tí ètà ṣe last one yẹn ẹ jọ.
Okay, sir. I will do that.
A lè máa go fúnra wa o.
Okay,
God
sir.
bless you. So we appreciate you.
Okay,
Thank you,
sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Regards to HOS, so about HOS, so.
One.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Auntie Bidemi. Okay. What's your number?
Wọ́n ìwà ń bẹ̀ o. Wọ́n ìlọ o.
Mi ò tí ì lọ kápó.
On mute ni mà.
Mo ti on mute.
Wọ́n lọ test kan kitchen ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, báwo lẹ ṣe mọ̀? Báwo lẹ ṣe mọ̀?
I got you. Our name.
And we appreciate all of you. Our topics here, man, were very, very relevant to us.
Thank
you so
for
much.
appreciating us.
Yeah, appreciate.
And thanks for adding value.
Yeah. About Akelori Edio.
Okay.
Hold up.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
So we are bringing the meeting to a close now. In another 2 weeks, we are going to have another interesting topic. We appreciate all of us for joining. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.